behalf of the Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command Newport, welcome to the graduation ceremony for Officer Candidate School Class 1217 Alpha Company, consisting of 43 candidates. Guests are encouraged to take photographs from the viewing area at any time during the ceremony, except during the playing of the national anthem. The order of events for today's ceremony is as follows. At 10:30, Captain Savageau, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command Newport will arrive. Guests will be asked to rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and invocation. The Commanding Officer will address the graduating class, and the class will receive the oath of office by the class officer. The graduates will then be recognized through the presentation of their commission by the Commanding Officer and the class officer. Guests will be asked to rise for the playing of the service songs and the final dismissal. Again, allow me to emphasize that you are encouraged to take photographs at any time during the ceremony with the exception of the playing of the national anthem.
Class 1217, outside, good. Class 1217, reject, mark.
Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Training Command Newport, arriving. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Guests, family members, and most importantly, the soon-to-be commissioned ensigns of Class 1217, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
It is my deepest honor and privilege to be here with you to recognize and celebrate your accomplishment. This morning, we are blessed to be here and bear witness as 43 of America's very best and brightest, your sons and daughters, are commissioned as the newest ensigns in our Navy. Their officer appointments come directly from the President of the United States, wherein he has invested special trust and confidence for the citizens of our great nation. In just a few moments, these dedicated young Americans will raise their right hand and swear a sacred oath to support and defend the Constitution and to well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which they are about to enter. For the parents and loved ones of Class 1217, as you look upon these fine young men and women before you, I know how proud you must be. Proud of their accomplishments and proud of the selfless sacrifice that they made to be here. But to you, to the parents in the audience, on behalf of the Navy and of a grateful nation, thank you. Thank you for entrusting us with your sons and daughters. It has very much been Officer Training Command's honor and privilege to have had the opportunity to further develop them morally, mentally, and physically into future leaders of character and competence. But thank you for your efforts, for giving our candidates the intelligence, the moral compass, and the personal drive necessary to succeed as a naval officer. Please give one another a well-deserved round of applause. For the class itself, while I was certainly able to talk to you while you were here at OCS, I'd be derelict in my responsibilities if I didn't take at least one more opportunity to share a few critical lessons before I send you out complete. First, if you aren't at least a little apprehensive about the responsibility of the office in which you're about to enter, you're probably not completely aware of the responsibility into which you're about to enter. Know that somewhere in the fleet right now, there's an executive officer who has your name on a list and has things for you to do already. But you need to relish that challenge. I can tell you with absolute certainty that you are ready. Whether it's sea or excavating pipeline courses, the OCS officers whom I've served or taught in the last 26 years have been very well prepared for their jobs. From my personal experience, Lieutenant Junior grade who grabbed a secondary hose and charged the burning turbine generator, the Lieutenant who taught me how to hold an unfriendly submarine at risk, and the Junior officer who I trusted most implicitly while I was in command were all OCS graduates. More importantly, when I reluctantly turned over command to the USS Pittsburgh, it was to an OCS graduate who deployed the ship into harm's way with immediate results, and who also turned the ship over himself to yet another OCS graduate. As I promised you almost 12 weeks ago, this staff, and in particular your class team, have done their very best to make you ready for the fleet. I want to personally thank them and ask you to join me in applauding their effort. Secondly, I want you to remember that your oath carries, to paraphrase Conrad's discussion of Command at Sea, far more obligations than it does privileges. You are about to be placed in a position to lead and mentor what is truly one of our most valuable national products, the enlisted men and women of our Navy. As you may well know, less than a quarter of our high school-age population would even qualify for naval service. Those who do volunteer to serve are a precious national resource, and you need to treat them as such. You must view that to well and faithfully discharge your duties is a sacred responsibility to the parents of the United States, much as your outstanding class students hold that same obligation to yours. The foundations we've laid here at OCS are solid. It's now up to you to build upon them as you enter the naval service, and I'm absolutely certain that all of you will. I normally have another honor and privilege on a graduation morning, that of introducing our guest of honor. But due to some unplanned schedule conflicts, I get to introduce today's guest of honor, which is me. And luckily, most of us met last night. If not, please fill in your friends who are here. Well, I'm sure a decent amount of the class probably would have grown a little bit if the Marines hadn't been here. I can assure you that I'm not going to go over too much old ground. While guest speakers generally give the class advice on how to succeed, I've already given as much of that as I think I can over the last few months. What I want to do instead is to tell both you, Class 1217, and you, the parents and loved ones of these new officers, why all this matters. The sacrifices, the effort, the sweat, the pain, all of this was well spent. The landscape to which you're about to enter is full of change and opportunity, really more so than in any recent times. If anything, your environment more closely matches the very early 90s situation I encountered on commission. The similarities are there. At the time, technology was transitioning, as the ships that fought in Korea and Vietnam were finally replaced by the Cold Warriors. The analog days were giving way to digital era of combat control, avionics, and sonar systems. GPS was just coming into use, dramatically changing the way we navigated. The beginnings of advanced communication systems and high data rates started during my junior officer tour, as in the introduction of joint and coordinated strike group operations. You will have an opportunity to employ technology far more advanced than I could have hoped to see even on my command tour. The tools of situational awareness, intelligence gathering, communications, and just plain blowing things up is absolutely amazing right now. And you will soon be able to operate more safely and more effectively than I ever could have in the old days. The tools of the Cold War era are on their way out. Now, for a fair-water plane 688 attack submarine sailor like me, it's been hard to watch the Navy move past me, but I would honestly love to be in your shoes today to get a chance to employ these systems. Politically, during my junior officer tour, the world became unstable, and the polarized world order broke apart, with capable weapons proliferating throughout the world. This is similar in many respects to today's world. The world is as unstable as ever, and yet here in the United States, we continue to enjoy a very high standard of living and a relatively peaceful lifestyle. We are able to have this luxury through the overwhelming might of our military. And while this country is surrounded by a rather sizable moat, that moat is not defended by any castle's walls, but by the United States Navy. While terrorism may pose threats to individuals, there are powerful forces that truly threaten the United States and the world order, forces that are only held in check by the United States Navy. A security clearance is no longer necessary for anyone to see this. The Chinese are openly and ruthlessly expanding their interests, building islands where none existed, and rapidly expanding their military reach, threatening both us and their neighbors with provocative military actions. They threaten the flow of goods and, most importantly, oil, through an area that sees even more oil traffic than the Strait of Hormuz. There is only one thing in the world that can stop them, and that is your Navy. Several months ago, the Chinese were found to be violating international law with their actions in the South China Sea, a finding they immediately stated they would not recognize. Several occasions of unsafe operations between Chinese and U.S. naval forces ensued. Following this, Admiral Richardson was subsequently invited to Chinese North Sea Fleet headquarters in Qingdao and met with their fleet commander, and he was unequivocal in his position, stating that the United States Navy will continue to conduct routine and lawful operations around the world, including in the South China Sea, in order to protect the rights, the freedoms, and the lawful use of all air and sea space, and guarantee them for all. This, future officers, is what integrity, toughness, and accountability look like. The Russians are back to their historic expansionist ways, with Putin echoing Peter the Great in his desires to dominate the region. The country may crumble, but the military is always paid, fed, and equipped. In the face of unsustainable debt, Russia continues to churn out some of the most sophisticated military hardware in the world, in particular their undersea programs, which can only be stopped and rivaled globally by, that's right, your United States Navy. Recent press reports covered their efforts to interdict critical infrastructure, in particular the transatlantic cables across which the bulk of the world's economic communications travel. This is not a minor concern. Cutting even one of those cables would effectively shut down international trade, banking, and investment. This is a fundamental threat to our way of life. You're about to head to sea and man the ramparts against threats like this. Again, in the 12 short weeks you've been here, on these several occasions been in the news, with close flybys by Russian airplanes and short-range interactions at sea. In fact, the Navy's first air-to-air combat in a generation occurred just days ago. Yet our forces remain on station, refuse to be bullied into abrogating our responsibilities in the Mediterranean and Black Seas. I share with the class my personal experience with the Wild West nature of Operation Strait of Hormuz, and the news continues to document close encounters and, in some recent cases, shots exchanged between Iranian and U.S. naval forces in these critical areas. Yet we're still there today, and we're staying there for the foreseeable future. This, future officers, is why your class team and the remainder of my staff has been building you into leaders of confidence and competence, embodiments of Admiral Richardson's challenge to demonstrate integrity, initiative, toughness, and accountability, to be able to persevere in adverse conditions. The United States and the whole world depends upon your sacrifice, on your effort to guarantee that trade and communications critical to our ever more connected world remain free and intact. There is no other organization in the world, no other Navy that is even willing to pick up this mantle. There is no backup, folks. You are the line. The Navy's combat team can place an aircraft carrier, give or take 100,000 tons of pure, uncut democracy wherever we choose, whenever we choose to do so. The front line of our defense is often the front door of those who would oppose the cause of peace and freedom, courtesy of the whole team. The ship drivers who place the vessels where needed and defend them across 3 dimensions. The pilots who execute our missions. The logisticians who keep all of this wild mayhem forward deployed for months on end. The info warriors who provide the data needed to target for safety and targeting. All of you play a critical role in the front line of our nation's defense. But your leadership is not only needed for combat operations. The Fitzgerald collision is a stark reminder that operations at sea are dangerous, and your focus, your mariner skills, your professionalism are never allowed to diminish, not even for a moment. In those moments in the darkness, with water rushing through a staved-in hull, the courage and commitment of that crew saved the ship against immeasurable odds. You and your class team's hard work and determination have prepared you to assume the mantle of leadership in just such an event. You must be ready for whatever may come your way, because your team will look to you for leadership in times both good and bad. In conclusion, never forget that you are both the first and last lines of defense for this great nation of ours. Ships and sailors both rot in port, so work tirelessly to keep your ships, squadrons, and teams maintained and ready, and execute every task with pride and professionalism. Your crew will feed off your enthusiasm, and they will follow you to the very darkest corners of this world to perform this nation's business if they know that the mission is important and that their leaders are up to the task. For Class 1217, I'm proud of the effort you've expended over the last several weeks. I want to thank you for all that you have done and all that you will do in service of this great nation of ours. It is my personal pleasure and honor to welcome you as naval officers into the wardroom of the world's greatest Navy. You've earned your commission. Now it's time to get out to the fleet and get to work and earn the right to lead your sailors every day. Best of luck to you all. Thank you.
Do hereby accept such appointment.
Do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Class 1217, ready, seats.
The graduates assembled will now be recognized by the commanding officer and the class officer for their achievements while undergoing training here at Officer Training Command Newport.
Ready, face. Forward, march.
Ensign Adolphi. Ensign Adolphi has been designated a student naval aviator and will be assigned to aviation pre-flight indoctrination in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Adolphi is a graduate from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Ensign Ammons. Ensign Ammons has been designated an aviation maintenance duty officer and will be assigned to aviation maintenance officer school in Milton, Florida. Ensign Ammons is a graduate from Brandman University. Ensign Brennan. Ensign Brennan has been designated a student naval aviator and will be assigned to aviation pre-flight indoctrination in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Brennan is a graduate from Villanova University. Ensign Bristol. Ensign Bristol has been designated a student naval aviator and will be assigned to aviation pre-flight indoctrination in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Bristol is a graduate from the University of Texas at Arlington. Ensign Bryan. Ensign Bryan has been designated a naval flight officer and will be assigned to aviation pre-flight indoctrination in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Bryan is a graduate from Colorado State University. Ensign Castillo. Ensign Castillo has been designated a naval flight officer and will be assigned to aviation pre-flight indoctrination in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Castillo is a graduate from Texas A&M University. Ensign Cedia. Ensign Cedia has been designated a student naval aviator and will be assigned to aviation pre-flight indoctrination in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Cedia is a graduate from St. Leo University. Ensign Cox. Ensign Cox has been designated a student naval aviator and will be assigned to aviation pre-flight indoctrination in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Cox is a graduate from Humboldt State University. Ensign Davis. Ensign Davis has been designated a student naval aviator and will be assigned to aviation pre-flight indoctrination in Pensacola, Florida. Ensign Davis is a graduate from Lawrence University. Ensign Donnelly. Ensign Donnelly has been a graduate from Emmanuel College. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the United States Navy's newest ensigns. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the service songs and the final dismissal. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the graduation ceremony.